Right now at the moment we're filling up the sprayer. As of late we've been inundated with aphids, and aphids is a little yellow bug that didn't even exist in the United States less than 10 years ago, but somehow they made their way on a little tomato plant from another country, and they've been swarming our farms with a vengeance, it seems, ever since. So every other year is kind of a common timetable for them to show up. It seems like every now and then they do take a year off where it's not too bad, but for whatever reason they always seem to be present. And one of those, this just happens to be one of those years when they are rearing their ugly face quite regularly. So we're doing what we can to fight back. Product I use, it's an insecticide. Usually it's very small rate, 6 ounces per acre. If you want to put that into kind of a parameter that you can use as guidance, we're taking 6 ounces, which is half a pop can, and spreading that over an entire football field. So I mean, the rate we're using is very minimal, and what the product that we're using is a product that is harmful to little bitty bugs, but for all practical purposes should be okay for as far as human. Of course, you got to be careful, just like anything else, just like handling your typical household cleaner. I mean, you got to be careful and make sure you use responsibility when you're handling it. But aphids it seems to be a bug that if you let them go, they will swarm your crop and steal a lot of yield, and that's just something we can't have. So we're doing what we can to fight them back, and if all goes well, hopefully they'll stay away for at least the next couple of months, and maybe we're getting close enough to harvest where we won't have to worry about them again this year, but keep your fingers crossed. Okay, right now what we're doing is we're just loading the sprayer. We're just simply pumping the main product we're using here is water, actually, that we're using to pump over to the sprayer, and then later we'll work our way over to the soybean field and get after those aphids. Other things I put in my my tank to help things along is it has to do with a lot of fertility. It's a 3-18-18 analysis. It's 3 units nitrogen, 18 units phosphorus, and 18 units of potassium. And what I'm doing is it's a foliar type application where the leaves actually absorb the fertilizer, and it allows the plant to thrive just a little bit longer. Here we are, end of July, early August. It's kind of a good time of the year to give that plant just a little bit of boost, give it some nutrients that allow it to make the big push through around end of September, hopefully, is when the typical soybean harvest will take place. Got a lot of things going on. It's just simple a matter of dumping the product into the little cone you'll see there. Measure it out very incrementally. I mentioned 6 ounces for the insecticide. I use a fungicide also. That gets measured out in about 6 ounces as well. Many of these things we use are measured out in ounces. It's a very minute amount of pesticide that we're using in order to control whatever pest it is that we're dealing with, be it insects, be it weeds, be it fungus, what have you. Gets to be a lot of things that can be growing out there, and we're doing what we can to combat that and make sure that crop stays good and healthy. Welcome back to my farm. We worked our way into the farm shop here. One of the other aspects I'd like to show off as far as that complements the sprayer has to do with the sprayer tips themselves. This is the area where the actual product itself works its way out of the sprayer onto the plant and treats whatever it is we're trying to treat. This particular tip right here is used mostly just for killing weeds. This is the one where the rate would be 10 gallons total product, which is almost all water. We use that, like I mentioned, just typically. Sometimes I get into maybe a little fungicide with it, but usually not. It's usually just the main tip, general use tip I use. This particular tip right here is the one I do use for the fungicides in wheat, and it has a pattern where as you're driving along, this being forward, it'll spray this way and this way, so it actually gets both sides of the wheat head that will kill off the fungus that's growing in that wheat head. Now that sounds like a horrible thing when I say fungus. It's really not that horrible of a thing, but it does make the plant less healthy. So what we're trying to do is combat that issue and try to keep that away so that we do have a nice healthy green wheat plant growing out there. This particular tip here, nothing too special about this. This is the one I usually use when I'm using my Roundup application. Requires less water. I'm one of these people who tries to get by with a little bit less product if I can. only need about 5 gallons to the acre of water, and usually when I'm using this 5 gallons of water, which also includes about a quart of a product called Roundup. Roundup is a product that originally was used as a laundry detergent. So if you're feeling comfortable with the idea of washing your clothes with it, you should feel pretty comfortable with the idea of farmers going out and washing their plants with it and making sure those weeds are dead. Very relatively safe product. More than anything, it's become a very convenient product. Wide window of application. It's something that we've really, in the agriculture community, have adapted and really grown used to. Last tip I want to show you, this is my nitrogen streamer, which I use on my wheat. Usually there's just 3 little holes in there, and we got 3 little very straight streams that come out of that as we're driving along. And all it does is, the idea is to stream down into the wheat and try to miss the leaves as much as possible. Nitrogen does have a burning effect, so we would like more than anything for it to bypass the plant itself and work its way to the roots, so the roots are able to absorb the nutrients at this stage of the particular development of the plant. It's usually earlier in the season when we're using these. And then if all goes well, shortly thereafter we'll get a rain to help that product make its way to the roots. One of the other ones I'll show you, I shouldn't turn away from the camera, one of the other products I'll show you has to do with side dressing I do on my cornfield. This is set up on the same sprayer we looked at just outside here a little bit ago, where it follows down and goes down between every other row of the corn. The pattern or the process we call this is side dressing. Same kind of thing we're looking at there is the nitrogen will come out of here, or for what it's worth, nitrogen, but also other products I use. Oh, it could be manganese, zinc, iron, boron, sulfur, whatever that plant requires. What we do a lot of soil testing. We do some tissue testing as well to determine what that plant is deficient in, and make darn sure that's what we're putting on to make that plant thrive throughout the season. But this is something that's done later in the season, just simply for the fact that I like to delay my applications as much as possible for the sake of being able to put that nutrient out there when the plant can utilize it the greatest, as opposed to maybe putting it on early in the season when you have the likelihood of that nutrient maybe disappearing before the plant can even use it. My practice is proven, but it's not exactly popular yet. It's just something I've kind of adapted because it's just something I like to do. I kind of like to be on the cutting edge of that kind of process. So looking forward to it. So far it's been working for me, and if all goes well, it'll continue to work for as long as I hang out here on the farm. Well, I hope you learned a little bit about what goes on with me and my sprayer as far as being the popular tool on my farm. It's something I use, it seems like, all summer long, all spring long, and it's getting to be longer and longer every year why we use it. Thanks for joining me on my farm here today, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.